We're now going to transition and talk about several things that you need to do prior to departure. Within your program manual and also available online is a listing of every student's flight details. The most important times are when you're arriving in country and when you're departing. We'll be tracking all of the students' flights and all of the details, but those are the 2 dates and time listings that are listed in your program manual. If for any reason you see that the information is not correct, you've had a flight change, or you haven't submitted your flight information to Global Lead yet, it is so important that you do this right away. Otherwise, we can't guarantee that we'll be able to coordinate the transportation to pick you up and to return you to the airport at the end of the program. Whether this is your first time abroad or you've traveled internationally a lot, we want to give you several tips in order to make sure that you have a really good flight and a safe trip over to our program. Number 1, mark your bags with our contact information for our in-country housing. This can be found in your program manual or online. It's important that on your way to our program, that if for any reason your bag was lost, that the airline knows to deliver it to that country and not back to the United States. Arrive at the airport 3 hours prior to departure. Be sure to review the weight regulations for the airline you are flying. Stay hydrated on the flight. Set your watch to the local time when you get on the plane, and begin a sleep pattern accordingly. Note other flight tips that are in your manual. It's really important that everyone make sure that they have a passport and that it's valid for within 6 months of your return date. So basically, if your passport expires within 2013, you need to get a new passport. It's also really important that you have at least 2 blank pages within your passport. Leave a copy of your passport at home and bring one with you as well. The Global Lead program directors will also have a copy of your passport with them abroad. If you're not traveling on a U.S. passport, please be sure that you talk to your program director in order to make sure that there's not any special requirements for you entering the country. If you're traveling on a U.S. passport, there's no visa requirements for entering in any of our program locations that have to be done prior to departure. So you're good to go. One of the things that's most important is to remember that because we're not studying at a home university in any other country, that you're just traveling on a tourist visa, not as a student visa. So please be sure to remember that at immigration to say that you're traveling as a tourist, not a student. The only other thing to remember at immigration is that sometimes it's important to have a copy of your return flight information. Global Lead recommends that every student visits a travel clinic prior to departure. It's important that you're up to date on all of the vaccinations that they recommend for traveling internationally and that you have all the prescription that you'll need for the time that you're abroad. It's really important that if you have any special needs or are going to be needing any medical care while you're abroad, that you contact Global Lead immediately to make sure that we can do everything possible to accommodate your needs. Global Lead will not provide any prescription or non-prescription medication to students while they're abroad. This includes Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol, Tums, anything like that. So it's really important that each student packs their own individual first aid kit to help them with kind of any of the daily ailments they might have. There's recommendations in your program manual, and we'd be happy to give you suggestions as well if you'd like to talk to your program director. There's no vaccination requirement for entry into any of the 3 countries where we have programs. However, it's important that if you're coming from another country and not directly from the United States or Europe, that you contact the program director so that we can make sure that there's no additional requirements necessary. Since we aren't doctors, Global Lead won't make vaccination recommendations for our students. However, we do have links to the CDC website and where you can contact a travel clinic listed on our website. We do recommend that students all visit a travel clinic or their general physician prior to going abroad. One of the biggest questions we always get from parents and students is around money. How much money do I need and how do I get it abroad? In all of our program locations, ATMs are widely available abroad. Through ATMs is really the best way to get cash internationally. Travelers' checks aren't nearly as widely accepted as they used to be. What's important to remember is for you to call your bank and tell them that you're traveling internationally. It's always a good idea to have one card that you can use to get cash, so a debit card, and then one card that you can use as a backup, like a credit card. That way you can always have one card in your safe at home and then one card with you. It's also important when you're talking to your bank to find out what fees will be incurred by using your card internationally. Typically, there's a $5 set fee every single time you use your card at an ATM, as well as a percentage fee that they use based on the amount of money you take out. Talking to your bank is a really important first step before you go abroad. If you don't remember to call your bank, it's likely that your bank will shut off your card as soon as you try to use it abroad because they'll be fearful of fraud. Visa is the most widely accepted card internationally at our program locations, so having Visa cards is usually the best. However, MasterCard and Discover are also typically accepted. For our Cape Town and Greece program, it's important that you do not bring a lot of cash to convert once you get abroad. One, you're not going to get a good exchange rate, and two, there's very few places to actually do that close to our apartments. So it's better if you wait and actually get cash out from ATMs when you get abroad. In Ecuador, they actually use the US dollar, so it is okay if you bring cash with you. However, do not bring any cash that's over a $20 bill because they will not be accepted in Ecuador. Having smaller bills such as 5s and 10s is really the best way to go. Don't bring more than a couple $100s because it's never wise to have more than a couple $100 on you at any given time. Every student will be required to type and turn in several assignments while they're abroad. So no matter how the course is counting at your university, it's important that you bring a laptop computer with you so you can complete your assignments. It's also required for every student when they bring their laptop to bring a computer lock with them for your own safety. If a student chooses to bring any other electronics abroad, such as a cell phone, an iPod, or anything else that's incredibly valuable, it's important that you think through how you're going to protect yourself and keep those items safe while you're abroad. Though Global Lead does include medical insurance in your program fee, we don't include travel insurance. The difference is that travel insurance would cover any lost or stolen items that occur when you're abroad. So just remember when you're packing your electronics that if you would like to insure any of those products, you'll need to purchase travel insurance on your own. There's several great websites online that you can find that can provide travel insurance for any type of international program. Global Lead's #1 priority is our safety of our students while they're abroad. We put a lot of things in place in order to ensure that you're safe while you're on any of our programs. #1 is the rules that we put in place. We don't have any rules that we don't feel like are absolutely necessary in order to make sure that you stay safe abroad. We'll review the rules in just a minute. Each student in every program location will get an emergency contact information keychain that they'll be able to have on them at all times. We also provide several different safety requirements in your program manual. When we arrive in country, we'll do a thorough orientation on the ground. Global Lead provides medical insurance for all students, and it includes all activities that any student could possibly do while they're abroad. Global Lead has one of the largest staffs of any study abroad program in order to ensure we have plenty of support on the ground if there was an emergency. All staff on the ground are CPR and first aid certified. Global Lead also takes extra steps to ensure that each of our program locations has really safe accommodation, 24-hour security, and is in a safe neighborhood. Every student is required to review all of the safety instructions and tips that are available online. This is really important that you're able to have a mindset of being safe and doing things to protect yourself prior to going abroad. Global Lead has put rules in place in order to ensure that you have a safe and enjoyable experience abroad. It's really important that you're familiar with these rules because everyone is responsible for them, and violation of the rules is reason for dismissal from the program. So pay attention. Students are subject to the laws and regulations of the country they are visiting, and Global Lead. It's each student's responsibility to be fully aware of the laws of the country and the rules of Global Lead. Students are not to use, distribute, sell, or possess illegal drugs. Students found in possession or using any form of drug will be immediately dismissed from the program at their own expense. Physical abuse, verbal abuse, threats, intimidation, harassment, coercion, and/or other conduct that threatens or endangers the health or safety of another person is prohibited. Students found guilty of any of these forms of harassment will be dismissed from the program at their own expense. Students are not permitted to leave the hotel nor travel outside their host city at any time without following the sign-in, sign-out procedure and buddy system we have set up in each country. Attendance is required at all Global Lead events, discussions, service projects, and meetings. Absence and tardiness are unacceptable. Students are not permitted to have non-program guests stay in their rooms. Students are responsible to the hotel and each host city for any damages to the property. Students will not be permitted to check out of their hotel until the damages are paid. Students must be respectful to the other guests in the hotel by observing quiet hours from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Noise violations reported by the hotel or other guests will be taken seriously. This doesn't mean you have to be silent from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., but it does mean that you need to be respectful for the other people who are staying in the hotel. We know that when students go abroad, that it's not just an experience for them, that a lot of people have come around you together to help make this experience possible. We want to make sure that while we're abroad and before we go, that parents, friends, and family have the opportunity to stay connected to your international experience. Every student on a Global Lead trip will have the opportunity to blog during the summer. Please be sure to follow the blog this summer at www.globalleadprogram.org/blog. You'll get daily updates of things that are happening on the ground from different students' perspectives each day. There's 2 other ways that you can stay engaged in our programs. You can like us on Facebook, and you can also follow us on Twitter. On Twitter, we're just @global_lead. And then on Facebook, we actually have program groups for all of our students, a friends and family page, and then there's also the Global Lead page. So please be sure to search for us on Facebook and Twitter and follow along. I'm now going to turn it over to each program director, and they're going to walk you through country specifics. It's really important that you also pay attention and view the entire duration of your program-specific orientation. Once we're on the ground, we'll revisit a lot of this orientation material, as well as some additional safety instructions. However, prior to departure, it is incredibly important that you review all the material available online and in your program manual. We wouldn't have sent it to you if we didn't feel that it was incredibly important. You are responsible for all the material available in it, so please be sure that if for any reason you haven't received your program manual yet, you contact us right away so that we can send it to you.
I could not imagine a better study abroad program, a better place, a better group of people to go with, a better curriculum, a better program, better staff. It's just been an amazing 5 weeks, and I cannot recommend it enough.
I think my best advice to you is to go and to lead and to have the time of your life, just like all of us have.
You're going to jump off of bridges, you're going to go places that you've never been before, that you're going to meet people that are so outside of your comfort zone. It's all about pushing yourself to the limit.
You just want to have that joy and happiness and just be amped up, go on Global Lead.
If you want to have the 5 best weeks of your life in the summer, come on Global Lead, because it's amazing.
You get to do a lot of things that you wouldn't really do in a normal study abroad. Service week was absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't have met Little David, if it wasn't for that. Coming on Global Lead in general was definitely a better decision than going on a regular study abroad.
I'm not going home the same person I was when I came here. I've learned how nice it can be to just go with the flow and live without stress and just enjoy your adventures for what they are. And I have Global Lead to thank for that.
I was one of the first people to sign up for Global Lead, and I knew from a year before that I wanted to go, and it definitely was not a mistake.
All this wouldn't have been possible without people like Joanna or Courtney or Roddy, and it was just thankful for this opportunity and everyone that helped make it possible.
The people of Global Lead is what makes Global Lead, and I mean that with all of my heart. I just think that they have it. I mean, they have everything together and organized, but even more than that, they just really want to just empower us to be ambassadors in this world, and I just think that says something greater than any other study abroad program. Period. The end. The end. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your attention during this introduction to the orientation for our Global Lead 2013 programs. Again, we're so excited that you're joining us abroad this summer.